The A-List Podcast is brought to you by Fanduel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the A-List Podcast. As you can see, Sherrod is not with us. That's because all of us are at a conference right now, and he may not or may not have a voice at the moment. So for this week, you're going to have to listen to the voice. Of course, I'm joined, as usual, by Gary Washburn. Hey, Gary, what's up?
Well, I still got my voice. It might be a little deep right now, but yeah, we're all
a little raspy at this point.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on down here in Birmingham, Alabama, at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference. We're all having a good time and networking and meeting people and talking stuff. So good time, but yeah, it's the morning time, so our voice might be a little deep, but
yeah, don't judge us. Just judge us by the content of the podcast, not the sound of our voice. But this is going to be probably a little bit of a shorter episode. There's not that much to talk about. But actually, let's just start with the fun one from the top. Marcus Smart has no fear, clearly, of anything. I'm sure you saw the picture of him getting a tattoo. He got a tattoo while on a plane.
Oh, okay.
That's just such a Marcus Smart thing to do.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I would love to see a picture of it. I don't think there is.
Where was it on his body?
It was on his arm.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you go on Twitter, for the Twitter, now known as X users, just look up Marcus Smart tattoo. And it's like in the inside of his wrist on his arm.
Oh, okay.
And the guy's just calmly, I'm looking at it again now, putting a tattoo on his arm. But hopefully we'll see what it is eventually. But that was just some pop culture update type things from our guy Marcus.
Well, we're never going to lose touch of Marcus. We're always going to be following what he does and always going to be wondering how he's doing down there in Memphis. So good luck to him. I hope he does well. I know he will. And I think, we're all going to miss him. But
Absolutely.
That's Marcus Smart doing Marcus things in the offseason.
Like, it's not, the funny thing is such a bizarre story that we had to mention it, but it somehow isn't surprising because, like you said, it's Marcus.
Not surprising at all.
But currently with the actual Celtics team right now, there is a report that they are offering Svi Mihalik a deal for the 2023-2024 season. That is yet to be confirmed. But what do you think that would mean for this Celtics roster?
I definitely think it boosts the bench. Like they released Justin Champagny, and Justin didn't have a great summer league. I thought, it's funny, his brother plays for the Spurs. His brother was killing in Vegas. His brother was because Spurs signed him to a guaranteed deal before the summer league, and he just flourished. He was one of the best players in the summer league. So I think it's Julian is his brother. And then Justin had just up and down. There were some good games, but it's at his position, you're, second or third year in the summer league, you're supposed to be one of the best players on the floor. And there were games that he wasn't, that he struggled. So for me, I wasn't shocked, and they would have had to give him $50,000 to keep him on the roster after August 1st. So I wasn't surprised at that. Svi Mihalik is a good, he's been around. He's only 26. Ukrainian kid. He's bounced around Detroit, Charlotte, Lakers. He's been a lot of places, but he's played some good basketball. And I look, Kwani, at his last stretch in Charlotte, right? Okay, so last year he played 32 total games, 13 with the Knicks, 19 with Charlotte. Charlotte gave him not major, but considerable minutes, 22 minutes a game in 19-game stretch. He averaged almost 11 points a game, 40% from the three-point line, 44% from the field, 2.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists. He played the games didn't mean anything. It was Charlotte, but he actually played well. And he's had some games. Oklahoma City, he had a stretch in Oklahoma City where he, 30 games, he averaged 10 points. But he's already been with 6 teams, so he's a guy that obviously will probably just be with the Celtics for this season. Or he can go get more money probably in Greece. And, but it all depends on what he wants. Does he want to go back near where he's from, back to Europe? Or does he want to play for the Celtics, try to win a chip? And, I think it'd be a quality addition because the guy he has the ability to score. I've seen him at stretches against the Celtics. He's had, especially with the Pistons, he's had some good stretches. He's 6'7", 205, career average, 6.6 points, 36% from the 3-point line. So he's a pretty good 3-point shooter overall. He's kind of a young journeyman, to be honest. So I think it would be a good fill and a good replacement for Champagne, because I don't know, honestly, if Justin Champagne made the team, would he have even played? I didn't see bona fide NBA player in Justin. I saw a guy who's going to be going back and forth from the G League, or he might play for a bad team, but I didn't see Justin Champagne doing much or contributing much to the Celtics this season, so I wasn't surprised. And you got to start making these decisions now. And we can talk about this later, Kwani, like, who do you think they should sign for these minimums, or free agents and things like that? So, I think it's a good move, but it's all up to him. That guaranteed money in Greece, European contract, playing big-time basketball out there, it's probably more money, but a chance to play for a chip, it's enticing in Boston.
That being said, you mentioned, of course, the Champagne situation. So as a result, do you think Svi is the best fit to kind of fill in that gap? Like, who else would you consider when you're looking at the depth on this roster? And Brad even saying a few weeks ago that they are still looking into how they're going to fill out the team.
Yeah, there's some guys out there that are probably looking for more money. Like, I think Kelly Oubre, who has been considered kind of a head case over the years. But at this point, you're not going to, like, every player, we talk about this, Kwani, this is not the prom. Every player you get is going to have a flaw, okay? Sure. Either be a head case, inconsistent, overpaid, coming off a really bad contract, and now any player you bring in August is going to, like Austin Rivers, these guys all have flaws. Now, they can help you, but like Austin Rivers could be one. Kelly, I would probably try to target Kelly Oubre, but Kelly, he didn't do well in that stretch when he played for the Warriors, but he has the ability to impact the game, right? Play defense, hit the threes, run the floor. It's just keeping his head straight. Now, Kelly, what would he do in a situation like Boston where everybody's trying to win a chip? Like, this isn't Charlotte, bro. This isn't some of your previous stops. Like, we're trying to win. Like, what is it? If the teammates tell him that, the organization, will he respond? Is he more mature? And I said, Oubre had his moments when he was with Washington. He's had his moments in Golden State, but that didn't work out too well. Charlotte, but that's the kind of guy they're probably going to have to go after, because like the money's drying up, and these guys who are like I'm looking for $6-7 million a year are going to have to take 2 or 3 because they want to be in the league. Like they're going to get, remember Dennis Schroeder a few years ago, who was looking for his mad, he's looking for the bag, and the Celtics
will never forget that.
Yeah, Celtics got it for $6 million a year, and now now's discount time. Like all the players who were desired and wanted have already signed. They've already taken all the money. So now the team's just trying to fill last roster spots. Look at Miles Bridges now. He had real problems, and let's hope that he gets himself together. But he took the qualifying offer. Charlotte still has P.J. Washington. He hasn't done anything. He's still there's guys out there, Christian Wood. Like, money is drying up, and teams aren't breaking these guys' doors down. If no one signs you by August 5th, there's a problem. Right? Or teams are like, we'll sign you, but we're not going to sign you for that. We'll sign you for this, So I think the Celtics could benefit from that and get a quality player who's playing below his market value.
And football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on the Super Bowl winner, you get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/Boston. To that point, any player that looks at this roster, has seen what the Celtics have done over the last few years, knows that they are within this championship window that we talk about. So taking a pay cut wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing for someone that does want an opportunity to play in the league.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, it's a tough thing. Like egos are tough. These guys have egos. They want to make money. They want to make the bag. They want to sign their big contracts. But now, so I'm looking at the list. Christian Wood, P.J. Washington. We talk about Oubre, Jalen Noel from Minnesota. Minnesota. I've seen him he had a really good game against the Celtics last year, or a year before, I want to say, and during the Ime year, and Minnesota doesn't want him. They let him go. So he's out there. Our friend Terrence Ross, veteran guy who has seen better days. JaMychal Green, T.J. Warren, always injured, but when he can score, Like, these are the guys. Hamidou Diallo, that's another guy, monster athlete, young. What would he do in a winning situation? He's a guy I think the Celtics could very much go after. Like, there's guys out there. We look at Bismack Biyombo, Will Barton, who has seen better days athletically. Wenyen Gabriel, the kind of the athletic, real raw athletic kid who played last year at the Lakers. Kendrick Nunn, who's not had a great. Terrence Davis, who the Celtics are rumored to be linked to early in training camp, early in the summer. He's still out there. John Wall, of course. I'm reading off this hoops hype. Danny Green, seen better days. Stanley Johnson. These are the guys. Justice Winslow. These are the guys that you're going to have to look at, and all of them have, track records. Not negatives, but all of them have issues. Either always being injury issues, not playing well in their last stop. Whatever, like Jalen Noel, Minnesota just, as much as Minnesota needs talent, Minnesota's let them go. You got to look at those things. But these are the kind of players that are out there. And it's still interesting and exciting because if you hit on one of these players, that guy can help you win a playoff game maybe,
Right.
That's the thing. It's just hitting on the right guy. And that's what the toughest part about these 30 guys is which one will help me or which one is we're going to have to literally waive in the middle of the season, or is just going to be at the end of the bench. As much as I thought Blake Griffin was a good leader. Blake didn't do all that much on the floor eventually. And so he became just more the Celtics, I think, expected him to do more on the floor. Our old friend out there is still free agent, Romeo Langford, Kevin Knox, a guy who was a former first-round pick who never, ever reached his potential. He's out there. Frank Ntilikina, another former Knicks, our friend Javonte Green, who's coming off knee surgery. Serge Ibaka, who's definitely seen better days. RJ Hampton. These are guys, as we've listed, it's a bunch of these guys who are just Boban is out there. Let's bring in Boban just for the hell of it. Let's do. I'd love to see
That'd
Boban.
Be fun.
That'd be funny. Ish Smith, who a guy, a little point guard who gives the Celtics fits over the years. These are guys that are all out there for minimum deals, and the Celtics don't have to decide because these guys are not. Teams aren't snapping them up. So the Celtics have to decide what to do, what they really need, and can they wait on a guy like Oubre? Or is Oubre going to go, no, I'll take $5 million from this team instead of $3 million from the Celtics. I want to make that extra $2 million. It's about my money. Some guys are about winning. Some guys are about their money, as we all know. So it's going to be interesting.
The two other players that are currently on this roster, I'll start with Derek White. He recently was on ESPN and NBA Today, the show, and said that he loves being in Boston. It'd be cool to get an extension. And Sports Illustrated had confirmed, and it's kind of obvious, that Derek White will kind of fill in that Marcus Smart starting point guard role for the team. So at this point, again, starting with Derek White, but then also looking at Peyton Pritchard, is it time for the Celtics to start considering extending their contracts?
Well, I think I think with Peyton, you got to kind of play the prove it game. Like, do you sign him? What's Peyton's market value? What's he going to ask for? Right. Of course, if you offer Peyton Pritchard 3 years, $40 million, he jumping on that one, right? Which is not crazy money. That's the money that Grant wanted and didn't get. He got in Dallas, right? But has Peyton played up to that level? No. So, but I'm sure. So the Celtics aren't going to offer that. Well, if you're Peyton, do you say, I'm gonna bet on myself? I ain't signing nothing. I'll come back on that restricted deal and that like qualifying offer, and then I'll just be a restricted free agent next year after having a good year this year. That's betting on yourself. If you're the Celtics, do you offer Peyton if you really think he can be part of your future? And then it's a very tradable contract. Do you offer him 3 years, $21 million, 3 years, 20, 29, 30 million, like not 13 million, but like you offer him $7 million a year. That's what I think would be a fair, if you really think he's part of your future, or it's such a tradable $7 million contract, so tradable.
Yeah.
So if you really feel like you didn't want to deal with him being a restricted free agent, I don't think the Celtics do that. I think the Celtics turn around. He plays next year on that the qualifying offer, and he bets on himself, and the Celtics say, yeah, let's see what you do this year, and then we'll talk about extension next year. With Derek White, I think he needs another year to prove that if he has an equally good year, obviously the price is going to go up. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if the Celtics now are so invested with all the money they've done spent on Jalen and Porzingis.
They got to save their money for Tatum.
And then Tatum. And then, I don't know if extending Derek is a real priority for them right now. Unless they really feel like he's gonna kick butt at point guard, because he told you that's what Joe Mazzulla told us, that Derek White's the point guard. I'm not sure about that, but that's the way it's going to be. So let's see what Derek White does. I think that's both sides will probably talk more seriously down the road. I'm not sure the Celtics, after spending all this money, it's like, okay, Derek, come here. You get money. I don't think the Oprah Winfrey thing is going to work.
Everybody gets something.
Everybody gets money at this point with Derek White.
So before we close out, our guy, Bobby Manning, CLNS Media, of course, he actually tweeted Friday morning, which is when we're recording, that we actually already got the Celtics preseason schedule a little bit early. So the Celtics, always a good matchup when they're playing the Sixers. That's going to be October 8th at the TD Garden. And then October 11th, they're going to go back to Wells Fargo to play again. And then a note just under that, he had that the Celtics will be visiting Charlotte on October 19th. So obviously the NBA, the league is just keeping this Sixers rivalry alive. It's actually, that could be the way we close out, though. Looking ahead, the season's slowly creeping back up upon us.
Coming back.
Do you think the Sixers are going to,
The interesting thing, Kwani, is like the season starting later this year. Like even with this whole play-in tournament stuff, the season starting a week later. Like I think camp opens in early October, not usually it opens in September, late September. And now with the last preseason games being like on the 19th, that means the season started that Tuesday TNT package, which could likely, might involve the Celtics or Miami. It could be like the Celtics going down to Miami for the rematch or something like that. That's going to be like the 24th. So the season starts a little later this year, but I think, and I know the schedule will probably come out officially maybe mid-August, maybe 2 weeks, maybe about 2 weeks. So it's coming. The off season short now. For you basketball fans, kind of desperate for hoops. The TBT just ended, so now you got, I think, the World Cup's coming up in a couple of weeks. Team USA, I don't know about this team. A bunch of young guys. We'll see how that works out, like Anthony Edwards and Paolo Banchero and Austin Reeves and those guys, how that works out. But that should be something that'll be interesting to watch too, how they work out in international play. That would be some intriguing hoops. Because we all know, Kwani, like now, I think the preseason opener, the Hall of Fame game was on Thursday night. NFL is going to start percolating. Major League Baseball getting with the pennant races, but the NBA is always going to be a factor. So that's the fun part about this. And the Celtics news is still going to come because they haven't signed. They still haven't filled out, their roster. They got to set their roster, invite guys to training camp, figure out who to sign, who not to sign. So it should be exciting, not news filled. I mean, don't stay on X all the time looking for NBA updates or Twitter, whatever you want to choose to call it. But I do think there'll be little news nuggets over the next 2 months before training camp begins.
And which is why we'll continue to have episodes. By the way, if it's Mama called it Twitter, I'm calling it Twitter. That's where I stand.
It's Twitter. The little bird, R.I.P. to the little bird.
Exactly, but actually, I'm so sorry to that bird.
You had to do that to the bird.
The bird didn't do nothing.
Free.
I'm surprised Peter didn't step in on this one. That's ridiculous.
Peter, where you at? Let's set the bird free. You don't have to kill the bird with an X.
Seriously. But that's all we have for this week's episode of the A-List podcast. Sherrod, we're wishing you the best, even though he's in the same city as us.
I know, get your voice back.
Yeah, but until next week, we'll be back. We'll have more things to talk about. Gary Washburn, thank you for joining me. For our listeners, thank you for listening as well. This is the A-List podcast. Thank you.